I'm biracial and I'm proud. I'm biracial and I proclaim it loud. I'm biracial, no hate can keep me down. No matter what my haters say, I proudly rep both of my races today. I'm biracial and I'm proud. I'm biracial and I proclaim it loud. I'm biracial and no hate can...
Salam alaikum YouTube, what's cracking it, yo? Angry Biracial back with another video. Y'all know how I do. I gotta keep my foot on the necks of these modern males 24/7. I know my voice still sounds funny. Your boy got the flu. And I honestly don't feel like recording today. But I set a content schedule and I'm trying to keep by it. Today's video is a little bit different. It's about a sundown town in Coleman, Alabama that's been trending recently. A white passing biracial woman from Coleman, Alabama put her foot in her mouth in a major way. This is gonna be a good show, flu and all. So, as usual,
in the heart of the rhythm where the beat comes to life. That's a tale of a woman, the beauty to survive.
So grab your favorite drink, some popcorn, and let's dive right in.
Here's my opinion as a brown person on Coleman being called a sundown town.
Oh, that's just me trying to locate the brown person she was talking about. I don't know why old Pasty Ann over there is trying to say she's a brown person. This is already not starting good, but let's continue.
To say that Coleman is a sundown town would not be fair. But also to say that there are no racist people here in Coleman would also be false. If you're black, you're not going to get shot if you drive through Coleman. You're not going to get pulled over or stopped by a cop just because of your skin color. But if you walk into a restaurant, you're probably going to get side-eyed and stared at. However, not everyone that is looking at you is racist. A lot of people here in Coleman, Alabama are white, so them seeing someone of color is very rare.
That's very whites only pies of you to say that. If my half-black ass walks into a busy restaurant and suddenly gets quiet and everyone stops and turns and stares at me, I'm out. I'm leaving. I'm not asking questions. I'm not asking for no whites only pies. I'm getting the fuck out. And for you to think that that's not racist, for an entire restaurant to get quiet and stop and stare at the person of color that just entered their establishment, speaks volumes to your disconnect here. And Coleman has a long history of being a sundown town. It wasn't long ago that there were signs like this on the interstate going to Coleman. This sign is a little bit milder, but you get the point. But let's see what else she has to say.
I also feel like I need to put this out there that I was not raised by black people, so I don't have this connotation on white people of racism. This is just what I've experienced as a mixed person being raised here in Coleman. I was raised by white people. In fact, my grandpa was a part of the KKK.
It's quite obvious you weren't raised by black people. It's also quite obvious you have never met the black side of your family. And you, like most people in Coleman, have probably never sat down and actually talked to a black person. But then you turn around and say that because you weren't raised by black people, that you don't have this perpetual fear of racism from them. I hate to break it to you, lady. You're white. Or as you said, why? Your pawpaw was in the KKK. So you've been force-fed racism since the day you were fucking born, since you were conceived. If your pawpaw was in the KKK, the same pawpaw that raised your white mother, just let that sink in. Your white mother was raised by her father, who was in the KKK. And you were raised by your white mother, whose father was in the KKK. Are you connecting the dots here? But before I expand on that, she has more to say, unfortunately.
I do think there's like two different types of racism. There is the silent racism where people, and then there's going to be like where people are going to say like hard R's. Like there's two different types of racism. And on you coming to Chris Kendall and coming to Coleman as a town, we have a lot of unique stuff here in Coleman. We are definitely a Hallmark town. You may experience people staring at you. You're not going to get shot. I've been side-eyed though. I have been looked at funny. I've never been stopped and harassed by a cop because of my skin color. I will also note though, unless if you are colored, you...
Oh, wow. There was several things I wanted to say, but did she just say colored? Her KKK background is really starting to show here. If her saying colored wasn't ridiculous enough, that lady had the nerve, the audacity, the raw gall to get on Beyonce's internet and say she's never been pulled over because of her skin color. Lady, you're white. Of course you're not gonna be pulled over because of your skin tone. You are a white passing mixed person. And not only is your skin tone and your features and your hair all white, so is your mind. You think the only forms of racism is silent racism and someone calling you the N-word. I have to keep biting my tongue because we have a lot to get through. And unfortunately, she has a lot more to say.
I will also note, though, unless if you are colored, you will not experience racism the same way. I'm sure you know there's racism out there, but I'm married to a white guy who was raised in Arab, which is closer to Huntsville. So when he went somewhere, he went to Huntsville. And when we moved in together, and when he moved up here, he did tell me that since we started going out, that he has picked up on more of the racial cues, the side eyes, the people. But also, it's not just white people here in this town.
I am really struggling here with this lady. She said that her white husband said that he's starting to pick up on some of the racial cues and racism that she, as a black girl, I can't even say it with a straight face, is enduring. I'm sure your husband is very, very progressive. And I'm also sure that if you never told him that you were mixed, he would just assume that you're just another white girl. And I'm also certain that your husband brags to all his friends that he's married to a black woman. And he talks about how cool you are because he's married to a black woman. And then his friends come see this supposedly black wife and they see you, this white woman. Whenever your husband is online and says something really racist and stupid and is called out for it, he probably says shit like, I'm not racist, my wife is black. Unfortunately, she really, really believes this too. She believes that her white passing self has the authority to comment and dictate how you as a black person may feel when coming into a historic sundown town. I'm also biracial, but I'm not white passing. And I can promise you that my experience as a light-skinned, half-black man is not the same as a fully black, dark-skinned man. So if my half-black ass went into Coleman, Alabama, I promise you I wouldn't have the same experience as a fully black man that went down there. If you are a racially ambiguous or a white-passing mixed-race person, there's some shit that you should just keep your mouth shut about. You have no right trying to lecture black people on how they should feel about racism or what they can expect as a black person in your city.
As the people, but also, it's not just white people here in this town. It is also the black people. I will say that. There's also black racism. I have been told for a majority of my life that I was whitewashed because I was raised by white people. I've heard it from both sides of things.
I am actually torn on this point that she made. As a biracial person myself who grew up in the black community, I can say that the vast majority of the colorism, the racism, and the hate that I've experienced has come from black people, especially black men. So I feel her on that point. But then again, looking at her, the way she thinks, the way she looks, the way she talks, and now knowing that she grew up in a home who's directly tied to the KKK, I can understand where monoracial black people are coming from when they say she's whitewashed. Anyone looking at her would never assume that she's half black. She just looks like a white lady and who grew up in a sundown town in a KKK family. So black people telling you are whitewashed, they have a very valid point here. And as a fellow biracial, I'm also telling you, you're whitewashed. Your whole look, your whole life, your whole existence is white. And I think you only claim being mixed race or biracial when it benefits you or when you need to be a token person of color for your sundown town.
Coleman is not the only town that has racism problems. I've lived in Coleman for a majority of my life. For a couple of months, I didn't live here in Coleman. I lived in Nebraska and Minnesota, and even though those are more northern towns, there is still racism there. If I go to Huntsville, to Birmingham, to Hoover, where majority of the population is going to be colored people, there is going to be racism there too. Whether it be a colored person being racist towards someone else or a white human being racist towards another person, there's going to be racism everywhere you go. Do not think that you can't come through this town because you're black, because that is just not true. I've also been to the Chris Kendall Market. Me and my husband went with our family, and yeah, you don't have to worry about being shot there. So, and if people stare at you, I would just I get stares all the time, and I'll just tell you what I do, and I don't care. I typically look at them and say, stare, stare, booger, bear. My uncle taught me that a long time ago. Definitely come to Coleman and come to the Chris Kendall Market. Clearly, I'm not a part of the KKK trying to trap you here to let the KKK get a hold of you, and this is just what I think. I hope y'all all have a great day, whether you're black, white, purple. Have a great
She sure likes using that word colored. And I noticed how she said a colored person being racist or a white human. So actual brown people, black people, people of color are not human? Because you made the point to say white human. And then to make the point that the KKK is not trying to lure black people there or people of color there to trap them means nothing coming from you. You admitted with some pride on your chest that your grandfather was a part of the KKK. You were raised again in a KKK family in a sundown town. You're their token person of color. You're their token brown person, even though there's no brown evident on you, unless they're talking about your hair. You did not help the cause of your city that you love so much. If anything, you made it worse. You've established that KKK is rampant there. Most likely, your grandfather is still alive. And many of his fellow Klansmen are probably still alive. And their sons and daughters are still alive. Your mother is still alive, who was raised by her Klansman father, your grandfather. So you made it clear that the Klan is active in that sundown town. Nobody but Candace Owens and Officer Tatum are going down there. And maybe all those blacks for Trump. But no one else in their right mind who is a person of color is gonna go down anywhere near Coleman, Alabama. It's so bad that they got their token white passing mixed race person calling people coloreds. Fuck you, Coleman, Alabama. My half-black ass will not be going down there. And the fact that Coleman, Alabama is trending right now on TikTok because you're making this huge Christmas light celebration thing to bring money into your racist sundown town speaks volumes about the wrong side of history you all have been on. Your town is declining because America is progressing. Despite the fact a bunch of dumb, ignorant motherfuckers voted for Trump, America is still progressing racially. And nobody wants to be associated with Coleman, Alabama or other sundown towns. Y'all are so desperate that you're practically begging for black people and people of color to go spend their money in your racist ass town. I'm not gonna go to your town and sit in a diner and give my money to that diner that made ancestors on my black side sit at the back, that denied my ancestors entry because they were black, or walk around down there and wonder what tree one of my ancestors might have been hung from. I'm good, Coleman. And as a member of the biracial and mixed race delegation, I'm asking you to keep your token mixed race ass in Coleman. And since you're white passing, please just claim white. Us biracials have it hard enough here. We don't need people like you making our life even harder. I'm going to end this video here. If you enjoyed the video, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment below. All those things help a small, growing channel like mine grow faster. And as a content creator, I really love interacting with y'all and reading your comments. So if anything I said in this video, or if any of the clips I showed triggered you or made you feel some type of way, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. Last but not least, my new book, The Burden of Blood, A Generational Curse, is out. Go on to Amazon or Audible and get your copy today. I promise you won't be disappointed. All that being said, know your angry biracial loves you. I appreciate you, and most of all, be safe.
It's angry.